Hello everybody, welcome to Flannery Genealogy Videos. My name is Brian Flannery. Today I'm going to talk to my dad, James Flannery, about the Bob Nichols killing, and just kind of let him talk in his own words about what he knows or what he don't know.
What do you want me to just tell a little bit I know about it?
Yeah, tell everything you know about it.
Well, all I know is there was a dispute. Bob Nichols and my grandpa didn't get along. I'm not really sure what that was all about. It wound up being a shooting down the holler at I guess their old home place, about a half a mile down the holler from here. And Dad never did say a whole lot about it. He didn't like to talk about it. But anyway, the one thing that stands out that I remember him say, I asked him if they had a trial, and he said, yeah. They had a trial in Greenup, and said it was a kind of makeshift or a trial, but said it didn't amount to anything, and Papa was back home quick after that. And I'm sorry, that's all I've got, but
So Vernon or none of them talked about it much either?
not really, no. No, I can't think of anything that any of them said about it.
Well, now, was the 32 Smith & Wesson pistol, wasn't it supposed to, Vernon always kind of thought that's the one that killed Bob Nichols?
Yeah, a lady named Bonnie Neese that used to live 2 or 3 miles from here was Ben Neese's daughter, and supposedly she had the pistol. I saw the pistol when I was a young kid, and anyway, the thing about it was, his Dad and Vernon were there together, and they were looking at it, and they said, "Yep, that's the gun," because it had a notch out of the butt plate. I don't know, it had been dropped or whatever accident had happened with it. It had a little notch out of the handle, the wooden part of the handle. And I remember both saying, "Yep, that's the gun." And it was kind of a long-barreled 32.
When we used to farm up here in the holler, where we used to raise taters, and I'm going to take them up there and show them that, that's pretty much where they said that they lived. Bob Nichols lived, right?
Yeah.
And we would plow that ground and find stuff in the
Pottery and broken dishes and stuff like that. And that's always been called the house holler, because there was that house was up there. As far as the house, I'll tell you this, that as I remembered, Dad and the rest of the kids was all glad that episode was over, and it was told that Dad and my Uncle Alamil burned it down just to get rid of the old house.
so nobody else would go in and live in it.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any idea? I mean, you don't have to know. I mean, you got any idea, you think, why Allie rented Bob Nichols this farm?
I know. I don't. No, anything I'd say would only be a guess that maybe Grandpa was getting too old to work it, or maybe he kind of knowed Bob Nichols and decided to give him a chance, or I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Because Bob Nichols was from 504 in Elliott County, which was not too far from where he was, raised.
So you figure they were acquaintances, probably.
I would have think they would have had to know each other.
Yeah.
Maybe not have been close relatives they wasn't relatives, but not close acquaintances. But I would have had to think they would have known of each other.
Right.
But Emmy Justice died in 1929, and then he rents the farm in 1930. So it could have been where he had to raise the children too. I have never.
That's a possibility. I don't know.
You reckon? Had you ever heard Leonard or John Flannery talk about?
No, nothing really. I mean, well, no.
Yeah. See, their dad would still be living, Luther Flannery.
Yeah.
So I don't know their outtake on it.
About the only thing that I got the impression that John or Leonard, neither one didn't like Bob Nichols.
Well, there's not a lot of people that did, and for why, I don't know for sure, but I'm still looking and wanting to find out some more information. And one thing I'm trying to look at or wanting to look into is maybe it might have had somewhat to do with politics. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected for the first time 2 weeks prior to this shooting. Whether that is or not, I don't know, but I'm looking into that.
I don't know. I never heard that connection anywhere, so I can't say anything about it.
Do you remember their old house? Do you remember where it used to be at down here below the hunting cabin?
Yes, yeah, I do.
What was it like when you seen it as a kid?
Just some rubble and timbers kind of piled together, and maybe it tried to burn it or whatever, but it was all just kind of piled up there on the creek bank. What was left of it all fell in. It was totally destroyed.
So they had shoved it to the creek bank then, probably.
Probably, yeah, or gathered it over by hand. I don't think they had a bulldozer. They might have had a bulldozer in there. I don't know.
Yes.
But it was all just a mass of timbers and boards. I mean, you could tell a little bit of white paint on a few of the boards. You could tell it'd been a house. That's about it.
Yeah. I just done a video about the newspaper article, and it said that basically the shooting was 35 yards. He was standing 35 yards from the house. So do you imagine that the road was the creek there?
It could have been. I can't.
No, this ain't under. You're not under oath. I mean, it's just whatever you think. We're not having a retrial.
I always assumed it was up there in the road where the road is now.
Well, that's kind of what I always thought. But then I know, they said the road was the creek and part of the ways too.
Yeah. I know my dad said the road was in the creek, and of course there was probably places where it wasn't in the creek, where it was beside the creek or whatever.
And it was told that there was some neighbors, we won't mention the names of them neighbors, but there were some neighbors that wouldn't let them out of the creek to get up on good ground.
Yeah, my dad told me about that too, that, yeah, there was some hard feelings over that.
Yeah. So it was just rough times, wasn't it? I mean, people had a hard way to go. The depression was on, and living was hard, and it was hard to eke out a living. And did you ever know any of the Nicholses? Did you ever run on any of them in time? In times past, maybe somebody that was related to the Nicholses.
Well, I went to school with some Nichols kids that were about my age, and they asked me about it one time, and I told them the honest truth that I really didn't know nothing about it. Yeah. I know there'd been a shooting, but that it was a long time ago, and I couldn't say one way or the other what it was about.
When beginning this, I talked to one of Bob Nichols' granddaughters or great granddaughters, and she talked about it. That is her grandpa, and a lot of times we just don't know what's we don't know what exactly happened. We wasn't there, and it's almost 100 years ago. At least it's not over 90 years ago since this happened, and we don't want hard feelings. We're just trying to figure out the story and coming up with the different tidbits.
Well, I'll add this, that years ago, that the story was around that they had argued about the ownership of a hog or a pig, and I don't know. I don't know if that would have been right, or I have no idea.
So why would they have argued about that? Did they just run loose?
This holler is named Hog Branch because, as they used to say, that it was easier to just build a fence around the garden and let the livestock run loose, and that people just had hogs, but they just wandered all over the whole holler into different people's properties and stuff, and so it would have been very easy for us out. I had a bunch of pigs back in the woods somewhere, and nobody know for sure whose pigs they were.
Really?
Oh yeah. And of course, barbed wire was just a new thing around here then, and nobody could afford it hardly, and they didn't keep their hogs in pens. They just let them go loose.
Yeah.
So it would have been pretty easy to have a dispute over ownership of a hog.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that story's true. That's just something I heard growing up.
That's the way a lot of this. I mean, it's going to be hearsay, and we're just trying to save the tales that's been told to the best of our. Now we can record it and hopefully pass it on down to further generations.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else you want to say before we end the video?
Well, not nothing that in relation to the Bob Nichols story, really. That's all I know. Which is almost nothing.
Well, if we think of some more, we'll record more later on.
Yeah.
But, we want to thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Like this video, share it with your friends, and hit the notification bell that would alert you when new videos would be uploaded. And hope you have a blessed day. Bye.